evening, Niner fans. How are we feeling? We are inching closer to the regular season. I guess it's the off season. But you know what? We're finally getting a little bit clearer on terms of the defensive coordinator position. We've been searching far and wide and in and out on who is going to be the next defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers after they fired Steve Wilks when Kyle Shanahan marched in his office and said, Steve Wilks, you're fired. Get out of town, man. They fired his ass, and now we're trying to figure out who the hell is going to be the defensive coordinator. And today, we got a little bit more clarity, right? There's four coaches that have been interviewed for this position now. Four official coaches have been interviewed. That's Brandon Staley. We all know. We heard about that the other day. Brandon Staley. I feel like the Niner fans hate that man. And then number two, Nick Sorensen. We knew about this the other day. He's, an internal hire, right? And then you have Daniel Bullocks today. They completed his interview. He's the defensive backs coach. So that's a guy that could be, promoted from within, just like Nick Sorensen. And then the big one, this is an external hire, another like Brandon Staley, an external coach. This is one that a lot of people are debating whether it's the Rooney Rule or not. This guy is the DB coach for the Chiefs, David Merritt. So that was the one that turned a lot of heads today. David Merritt, Kansas City Chiefs defensive backs coach. If you watched the Super Bowl, which I'm sure you did, that we hate to talk about it, 49ers kind of got cooked by the Kansas City Chiefs defensive backs, their secondary. Now, we know Spags is the man, the DC over there, but his right-hand man, David Merritt. I don't know. I kind of like this interview. It's just an interview out of the four candidates. So, again, we have Brandon Staley, Nick Sorensen, Daniel Bullocks, and David Merritt. Those are the four that we know have been locked in, that they've interviewed so far. There could be more. Earlier in the week, the report was that they're going to have two more interviews on top of these guys, right? Well, David Merritt was the extra. That's one. So there's probably one more. You have to consider that the NFL mandates that teams have to have a interview with two minorities. So we have two, Bullocks and Merritt, right? The two minority coaches. So we get, there's still some information that we're getting. It's a little bit clear, but it's still a little muddy. I don't know. It kind of seems like they want to go internal from what John Lynch said yesterday. They said they don't want to change too much the philosophy here and there. But he also said, we like to plan for the future. We like to kind of pick some things here and there and always kind of broaden horizons. So maybe he's just trying to pick the brain of David Merritt from the Chiefs to say, tell me about this scheme here and there in case they got to play him down the line. I don't know. I like Dave Merritt. I think he'd be a solid, hire. If this is the guy that hire, that'd be cool because he's from the Chiefs. They got a great secondary. He's a DB coach. He's not going to change too much of the scheme. So we'll see. We'll see. But, I know a lot of people still want the big names, the big guys, Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, one of those guys. The dream is still alive for some. For me, I'm going to hope and pray that we still can get one of those guys. I want Mike Vrabel. I don't think Belichick's going to come out here at this point. I don't think Pete Carroll's going to come out here at this point. But I'm going to hold out hope for Mike Vrabel. But I don't know. So what do you guys think? These are the four candidates so far, the four coaching candidates that have been interviewed. Again, we have Brandon Staley, Nick Sorensen, Daniel Bullocks, or David Merritt. Who do you guys want out of those four? I know there's other choices, and everybody wants guys probably not listed that I just did. But out of those four that we listed, Staley, Sorensen, Bullocks, and Merritt, who do you guys want? What do you guys think is the best course of action? Pretend you're John Lynch, and you're interviewing these guys. You're Kyle Shanahan, and you're interviewing these guys, and you got to make up your decision. Who do you think the 49ers should hire? So Debbie says, John is doing his due diligence. Shariso, what's good? Niner faithful. How we doing? Brian says, I go for broke and talk to Bill Belichick. What do we have to lose? Really need to get rid of Shanahan? Yeah, I hope they at least called Bill Belichick. I hope they at least called him up, gave him a nice message, sent him a box of chocolates and a bouquet of flowers, something. I hope they buttered his buns, but I don't think they're going to get Belichick. Of course, I love it. But out of these four, who are we picking? So let's see what the comments are here. Debbie says Merritt. Rashad says, I want the guy from the Kansas City Chiefs as the defense coordinator. That's Merritt. Danny says the DB coach from the Chiefs, he's won Super Bowls. Absolutely. Ignis says get the Chiefs DB coach. So far, it looks like everybody's on the Chiefs DB coach. Um, Stephen Reynolds says Kyle already reached out, but Bill declined it. I don't know. I seen that rumor. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. My guess is it's probably true. I mean, I don't think Bill Belichick needs to come out of retire, and coach. He should, though. He should. He should totally run it back with the 49ers. Come out here, win a Super Bowl with the Niners, and then retire and say, ha, ha, I'm that guy. That's what I want. But, 49ers throwback says David Merritt is a five-winning Super Bowl champ, 3 with Kansas City and 2 with the Patriots. Wow. 5-time Super Bowl champ. That is the guy. Highlight that comment. That's the man we need. Super Bowl caliber defensive coordinator right there. That's the guy. That's the guy. My man, Hey Peter Parker says anybody but Staley, but knowing he'll do most Kyle thing and hire Staley. Merritt says Christine Workman. California man says Dave Merritt has my vote as the 49ers new defensive coordinator. I think you guys like Dave Merritt. I think they show. I mean, hey, this is the way you got to look at it. If you can't beat them, join them, right? If you can't beat the Chiefs, go grab one of their guys, make them weaker, and learn how to stop that defensive scheme. Because I'm guessing 49ers have a high chance of playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl down the line again. I mean, the Chiefs, I don't know if anybody's going to really beat them in the AFC. Maybe the Bengals when Joe Burrow comes back. To me, that's the only guy that could beat Patrick Mahomes is Joe Burrow, right? So maybe if you end up playing them again, you have their DB coach, and maybe he could teach you some things to beat the Chiefs this time around. I like it. Just like last year, they got Javon Hargrave, right, from the Eagles. You took a strong piece out of them, and you made them weaker. Now we could take a DB coach out of Kansas City, make the 49ers better. And I think this guy is a championship caliber defensive coordinator. That's what we have to talk about. Remember what I said about Steve Wilkes? And no disrespect to Steve. That's my guy. We used to call each other every week, sideline Steve. He just wasn't a championship caliber guy, and he fell out of line with Kyle. They didn't have the vibe. But this guy, he's a championship level defensive coordinator. I believe he would be. He's Spag's right-hand man. And if you're the right-hand man to one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL, you're going to, reciprocate. You're going to be able to win because you've been around that, right? It's going to rub off on him. That winning mentality, that winning culture is going to rub off on this guy. And I feel like he would be a very good DC. Out of these 4 candidates. Now, Nick Sorensen and Daniel Bullock, I think they'd be good too. The internal hires because they know the system. They coached under Salah. They coached under this, this regime for some time. So it wouldn't be bad if they hired Nick Sorensen or Daniel Bullock. I think they're both respected in the locker room. I think the players would be hyped up for them because, they just came up and now they get their chance, just like D'Amico, right? They did their time and then boom, now they're the next man in line. But again, just to be a first-time DC, it does, it does take a little work, and also when you're internally hired, they could have done that hire a while back. That's the only pushback I have is they could have done this a while back. You could have got rid of Wilkes. They could have hired one of these guys last year, unless Kyle didn't think they were ready. I don't know. I like the internal, but I want to splash. Maybe I'm greedy. In the fact that I want to splash higher. That's just my take on it. Brandon Staley. I mean, we bring up the name and everybody, everybody hates this man. I don't know. I think he'd have a chip on his shoulder. I wouldn't. No, I'm not going to lie. I would hate the hire because I just feel like everybody's pushing back on that one. And it'd just be a weird vibe. Players would have to really trust this guy, or he'd have to earn his trust. He would come in with a chip on his shoulder because he's got a lot to prove after being a very bad head coach. But he did have a good year with the Rams when he was a defense coordinator, albeit they had a very loaded defense, but so did the 49ers. So I don't know. I think out of the 4, if I'm going to rank them, Staley's 4. I got Nick Sorensen 3, Daniel Bullock's 2. It's kind of close between those 2. You could kind of intertwine them. And then number 1 is David Merritt. That's my 4 in that order. If I had to choose, that's me. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, that's the way I rank them. But I'm not Kyle Shanahan. We'll have to see what he thinks. So my man 49er Throwback says, Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan have been good at replacing coaches. At the end of the day, they have. Like, we could sit here and say this, that, and the other, that, Steve Wilkes wasn't the guy. He still was a pretty good defense coordinator. He wasn't the guy to get the job done in the end. Kyle we know what Kyle's limitations are, but they've done a fantastic job of replacing guys. Robert Salah left, we got D'Amico Ryans. Right, D'Amico Ryans left, you get Steve Wilkes, who wasn't horrible, he just wasn't enough, and he kind of fell out of line with Kyle there. But he's done a good job of replacing coaches, and it's not just them. They got Brian Greasy, and they lose coaches, they bring in new guys, and it's like, damn man, this guy knows how to replace his staff. And same thing with Andy Reid. Like they're great at getting staff. Look around the league. Look around the league. Like look at the combine this week, and look at how many former 49er coaches and front office members are out there. Mike McDaniel, Robert Salah. He's not at the combine this week, but he'll be there this weekend. D'Amico Ryans, Ron Carthon's there. Adam Peters is there. Like all these former 49ers are at the combine and they're representing other teams. So it shows you how good our ability to replace and develop coaches is. It sucks that we lose them, but I feel great knowing that I think they're going to get the right guy for the job. So we can sit here and talk about who do you want for the job. It shouldn't be this guy, this, that, the other. End of the day, they're going to be good. And I think we have to just trust the process. Kyle and John know what they're doing. They've gotten us far. They've gotten us this far. I think they're going to do the right thing. They're going to get us the guy that they believe is perfect for their system. It may not be the guy that we want, but it's going to be a guy that's going to come in and do the job the way they want to do it. So I just can't wait to hear who the hell it's going to be. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the announcement. I got all the, I'm just waiting on pins and needles, just like every single one of you. So we did this game the other day, little exercise, right? Where I post a picture and you guys tell me how strong would you want this guy. 10 out of 10 is number, like so amazing. Get right now, 0 out of 10. Obviously, don't do his buns, it's cheeks. So we're gonna go from 0 to 10. I'm gonna post a picture of a guy. You tell me how much you guys want him at DC. I think it'll be a fun little exercise. So here we go. We got obviously we're gonna play this game right here. We got Bill Belichick. I don't think it's possible, but let me know how much on a scale of 10 do you want Bill Belichick as DC of the San Francisco 49ers? Tell me. Be honest. It could be a 1, it could be a 2, it could be a 10. I don't know. I say a 10 out of 10. Are you kidding me? Bill Belichick as the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Sign him up right now. Let's do it. What do you guys think? We got a 0 says 49er throwback. Anthony says 10. Hey, Peter Parker says a 10 out of 10. Debbie says 10. Easter Young says 8. We got a 7 in the chat. We got a 7, we got an 8, we got an 11 out of 10. Oh my God, we got a 10. Oh, we got some. We guys love him. Y'all want that Billy B. I mean, that's the dream. That's what everybody wants, right? That's what the majority, the consensus is. I think that's the dream. We're chasing a 10. We're not going to get a 10, I don't think. So let me post some other guys that we may be able to get. So this is the guy, David Merritt, Kansas City Chiefs, DB coach on a scale of 0 to 10. How much do you want David Merritt here? Let's see. Yeah, he said 0. Rashad said a 9 for Belichick. Although there's some more pictures I got to load up here that didn't load. Let me grab the rest. So yeah, go ahead and drop your thoughts on the rest of them. And then let's see. We'll get these going. Hold up. A couple pictures that didn't load. I got to load these pictures while you guys do that. Where the picture at? Hold up. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. So let's see what we got. All right, let's read the comments. We got an 8, we got a 9, we got an 8. Danny says 9. Noah says 8. We got a 9, we got a 9, we got an 8. We got a between an 8, 9. We got a 7 out of 10 from Peter Parker. 49ers throwback gives David Merritt a 10. A 10 out of 10 instead of a 0. Oh, man. Anthony says, does Snead come with? Oh, man. If the 49ers get David Merritt, I hope he'd go hardcore and full court press, try to get L'Jarius Snead. That would be solid. I don't think that would happen. But if they can get Snead in a package with David Merritt, I'll write the check right now. What do you guys? I'll make the check out right now. I'll write it up. We'll get going. That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now let's post a couple other ones here. This is the one. This is the one right here. This is everybody's pick right here. Brandon Staley, 0 to 10 out of 10. Rate it right now. How much would you want this man right here as your defense coordinator? Rate it from 0 to 10. Tell me right now. Roger, don't even put up Staley's pick. We did it. Oh, we got a thumbs down. We got a minus 100. We got a minus 10. We got a minus 100. Sheesh, negative 100. Y'all are cooking Brandon Staley. I cannot. If they hire this man, oh, you guys are going to cook. The internet's going to break. Red Eye says, drop him off the list. Minus 100, minus 0. This is crazy. Minus 1,000. Oh man, this is just dirty work, ladies and gentlemen. Let's switch gears to Nick Sorensen. He's an internal hire, 49ers defensive pass specialist. Nick Sorensen there. He's been on the team for several years. He went from the Jags to the Seahawks to the Niners. Internal coach here. He would be it would be a promotion for my guy. So man, y'all did not like Brandon Staley. Let's bring this one. This is a fun exercise. I think you guys are having fun with this. My man Peter Parker said, just name Kyle as the DC, right? We got -1. We got 0. We got a 5, a 4, a 6, a 7. Yeah, so it's like a mid-tier. I think you guys are about 5'6", around that range. Red Eye says he's the value hire, a.k.a. cheap. I agree. He's the cheaper of these guys. If they don't want to spend a lot of money, you get a guy that you don't have to pay him a lot. He knows the system. He's going to say yes to Kyle. He's going to ask him what time does he want his coffee. He's going to ask him how would he like his pancakes. Would you like me to fluff your pillows? He's a cheap value guy. He's the yes man. I think that's the move you make if you want, somebody that you don't have to worry about trying to take his power too high. But he's a good coach. He knows the system. He knows the team. The team loves him. He's well respected in the locker room. But to me, it doesn't scream like the big. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he'll come in and be the greatest defensive coordinator of all time. So I would give him a 6, 6.5. Bill Belichick obviously is a 10. Brandon Staley, I give him like a 3. Not a -100 like you guys. I give him a 3 out of 10. What else do we got? Let's post some more up there. Let's see. We got, this is one a lot of people want, but I don't think it's going to happen because he's on the Jets. They'd have to release him. Jeff Ulbrich, I don't know. I like this move. I think this would be about a 7.5. Great DC. He's aligned, he understands the concepts of the defense. He coaches under Salah. I like this pick. This one to me is very unrealistic. I don't think it happens. But just to rate it, just to play the game, what do you guys think on Ulbrich? What do you guys rate it? We got Anthony says a 5, a 7. Just what Kyle needs, another yes man. 7. Looks like you guys are going pretty in the middle of the pack. My man Throwback says hell to the no. California man says 7 on Ulbrich. Yeah, I like the guy. I think he's a solid move. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate the move. I think he'd be solid. Let me go. Here we go. Let me go. We got one more picture. Hold up. Trying to load this one. I know it's not letting me load this picture, but here we go. Sorry, hold on. One more. It's not letting me load the dang picture. The darn picture. Let's see. Oh, I gotta delete a picture to add a picture. This darn YouTube. You darn YouTube. This is the last one I'll put, and then you guys can we'll move on to the next topic. I think we here we go. Boom. This is the last one. This is Daniel Bullock's the DB coach. What do you guys think? You like Daniel Bullock? What do you think? I think I like him more than Nick Sorensen. I think he'd be a little bit more respected in the locker room. I feel like the players maybe relate to this guy a lot more. I don't know. I just feel I like his vibe a little bit more with the players. I've heard a little bit more about him over Nick Sorensen. I give him maybe a closer to an 8, but still a 7.5. 7.5 to an 8. I had Sorensen at like a 6, 7. I like Daniel Bullock's here. Not bad. I would take him over Sorensen if that's if it came down to those two guys. But let's see. You guys have 5, 8, 6, 7, 6, 6. Jesus says, I just want Vrabel. I do too. I want Vrabel. Get me Vrabel. Just run it. Just run him that check. But I think that's a pipe dream. Those are the 4 options, ladies and gentlemen. Plus a couple other rumors here and there. So I don't know. I know it's going to happen in a couple of days. Kyle Shanahan said by the end of the week. That was what Matt Mayoka reported in his article earlier this week. And now, as we get a little closer to the end of the week, I'm feeling like we are at the tip of the iceberg here. But we'll see. I'm hoping it's tomorrow morning, but maybe Friday morning. I don't know. I just feel like they're very close on this, but they don't have to rush. They're the only team that is fielding these DC position calls and interviews, so they don't have any competition. It's not like they're going up against anybody. They're out there doing their thing. They have time. They are not going up against anybody right now. So whoever's a candidate, they're the only team that is fielding these interviews. So really, there's no pressure on them right now. And I kind of like, earlier I was like, they got to get this done. They got to get it done before the combine. But now, as I think about it, there's no competition. They could pay these guys whatever the hell they want because none of these guys are going to say, well, this team's offering me this much. They can't. Niners are saying, well, what is that team offering you? Oh, nothing? Okay, well, here's your offer from me. So Niners at this point kind of in a win-win situation. They got the pick of the litter. They can pick whoever they want as a candidate, interview them all, and they really get to make their own price because they're not competing against anybody. So we'll see. Oh man, Jaime says 20 minutes late. What's going on? Yeah, we're talking about the DC position, and he says, who do you feel should be our DC? I mean, if it's up to me, I've said it. I want Mike Vrabel, but I don't think it's going to be Mike Vrabel. I don't think they're going to make that big of a leap, and it's not up to me. So sadly, I think they're going to go with. I think it's right now. If we're going to talk down to two people, let's put it this way. Let's say it's 50-50 right now. Comes down to it. I think it's going to be down to Dave Merritt and Daniel Bullock. So I think those are the top two candidates. I feel like Daniel Bullock's, he's respected. If they're going to make that internal decision, I think that's the guy they promote. And if they go outside, I think they like Steve Merritt. He's a 5-time Super Bowl champion, as we found out tonight. He's got good pedigree. He's from the Chiefs. Chiefs cooked the Niners. Their secondary was great. I feel like he'd be the right guy out of the four that they've interviewed. But I still have a weird feeling in my gut. Like, Kyle, he might say, oh, Brandon Staley. I don't know why. There's like a weird pit in my stomach that still tells me it could be Staley. But if I had to just make one guy and say this is the guy they're going to hire, gun to my head, I think they're going to hire David Merritt. But I think it's right now the top two candidates, in my eyes, my opinion, I think it's Bullock's and Dave Merritt. That's what I think. We'll see. If Kyle is forcing an outsider to use the wide nine scheme, can't bring staff, et cetera, it'll be Steve Wilkes all over again. I agree with that too. I said that earlier to someone today, and I said, you just can't recreate what you did last year because you're just going to recycle. You're going to go through the same vicious issue, a guy that's not accustomed to doing, what you want. And then unfortunately it's going to blow up in your face. So that is the one issue about bringing a guy that's not, so savvy to your scheme. So I think that is the one benefit of going internal that we have to really respect, because that is one reason why Kyle probably is looking internal. And there's two candidates, and how good are they with, using this scheme, and what are they going to do? What tweaks are going to do on their own end? Because, Robert Salah, he did the wide nine, but he did implement a few little things here and there. So it's going to be interesting. I just want to see them hire someone, and I want to see whoever they hire succeed. I don't know. I just don't want it to be Brandon Staley. So, yeah, we'll see. Well, moving on. We could sit here and talk about defensive coordinator a lot. But yesterday, I didn't come live yesterday on YouTube. I was live on Instagram. And we talked about pretty much everything. There was a lot that was said by John Lynch. And the first and foremost, obviously, Brandon Ayuk. Let's play the clip from what Kyle Shanahan said about Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, we know they want to keep him. They basically said, we are planning on keeping him here for a long time if we're able to. They want to make Brandon Ayuk a priority. And not only that, I think Brandon Ayuk wants to stay here. At the end of the day, this is the team that drafted him. I think he doesn't want to go anywhere. I think he wants to play here for the right price, and I think they'll get it done. But let's hear what John Lynch had to say yesterday.
Well, I think that's, I think that was a welcome sight that, that the cap was going up. I think the thing you have to understand, it went up for everyone, so it's not like unique to our team. but we have some challenges. We have a lot of good players, a lot of good players who we've rewarded. Brandon's one that we think incredibly highly of. One of my favorite just guys around our building, the way he approaches the game. He's a competitor. He's a warrior. He plays with such a physicality, also with the grace, the way some of the positions his body can get into. And then he's got a flair for making plays when it mattered most. And he's served us very well as a franchise. And, I think we've got a nice track record of extending the players that are important to us. And Brandon's a guy we want to keep around for a long time.
Yeah, it's a guy you want to keep around for a long time. I like how he said, they got a good track record. Everybody's going to dump on him and say, oh, well, DeForest Buckner, he made a mistake. He said it many times. But look at George Kittle needed a contract. They got him paid. Fred Warner needed a contract. They got him paid, one of the highest. George Kittle set the market. Fred Warner set the market at his position. Deebo Samuel was top 10 at wide receiver position. He, basically set the market if you want to talk about wide back. He was a versatile player. He got paid a lot of money, man. Deebo Samuel. They paid him. Took a while, but they figured it out. Nick Bosa took a while. They figured it out. He's the highest paid defensive player. They made him, handsomely rewarded. And now they have Brandon Ayuk. I'm sure they'll get it done. I hope it's sooner rather than later. I see Christine says they need to pay BA now and not wait like they did with Deebo and Bosa. I agree with that. Hopefully they can figure it out earlier than later. Because, the one thing about paying a guy later is it dips into their training time and they're going to be a little bit more cautious. They're going to miss some training camp, things like that. So you don't want it to dip into their training camp. Hopefully they nip it in the butt. But it does sound like they're going to get this taken care of. I don't think John Lynch seems too worried. I know they're going to figure it out. I know there's going to be some days where we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Why are they not signing them? Pay Brandon Ayuk. We're going to be hashtagging pay Brandon Ayuk. Pay that man. Pay BA. I think in the end it'll get it done. I just hope it's sooner rather than later this time around. So Throwback says, I hate the part where John Lynch hugged Big Dom. Yo, what's up with Big Dom at the combine yesterday? Hanging around the Niners. I mean, he was there. Sirianni was doing. It's like he's Nick Sirianni's I don't know, his lap buddy or somebody on my Instagram posted it's like his boyfriend or something. I don't know, but it is weird. This man was hanging around, and it's like he wants to work for. Maybe the Niners go get Big Dom to be their head of security. Can you imagine Dre Greenlaw, Big Dom in the same locker room? Come on now, that was funny. I was actually cracking up. Oh man, that was hilarious. But yeah, so I'm sure that 49ers are going to make sure they get Brandon Ayuk paid handsomely, very handsomely. It's just going to be a matter of time. Hopefully, it's just not too much time like Deebo and Bosa. Those two contracts spilled in a little bit too late into the offseason, into the training camp and everything. Now, Kittle, it did take a while, and that was a knockdown drag out. If you guys have read the stories of how that contract negotiation was, it was ugly. It was very ugly. Even though, we remember the Bosa and the Debo a lot, that was an ugly contract negotiation because Kittle's his agent, man, ruthless guy. So, and Parag, he's got his tricks up his sleeve. So it was a battle. And then Warner, I feel like Warner was the one. I mean, there were some slips here and there, but I feel like Warner was quiet. There wasn't really much drama. We'd say pay Fred Warner, but I feel like at the end of the day, Fred Warner's went pretty damn smooth out of all the players. I want Brandon Ayuk to go smooth like Warner's, but even smoother. I want it to go smooth like butter. We'll see. Now, there's another guy that needs to get paid, and that's Juwan Jennings. Not Kyle Shanahan. John Lynch yesterday did say they want to keep Juwan Jennings. They know he's a big priority, but they said they're determining whether it's going to be a tender, second-year tender, or a extension. Because if they drop the tender on him this year, it's only a one-year deal. Then next year he's going to be unrestricted free agent. So they might try to bring him back on a multi-year deal, a 2 to 3 year deal. And in the long run, that's going to open up cap space. It's going to be cheaper for them in the long run if they can get Juwan Jennings back on a multi-year deal. Because if they don't, let's say they have to pay him $7 million this year, and then he has a fantastic season next year, you're going to have to pay him a lot more money if he has a good season. So if they're smart, they can get that contract extension, and then later down the line, you can extend them some more or restructure. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So This is a good one. I love Juwan Jennings, and I know that they're going to pay this man also. Obviously, not as much as Brandon Ayuk, but for a seventh rounder, he's going to make some damn good money, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Juwan Jennings, man, and it's good to hear that Kyle Shanahan wanted to. Sorry, not Kyle Shanahan, but John Lynch wants to make sure he's handsomely rewarded because he deserves it, man. He deserves that money. He's a great player. We know how important he is to this offense. And then yesterday on my post, Mohamed Sanu. Oh, this pic's not loading. Hold, let me delete the picture and add this next one. So I don't know if you saw this, but um, hold up. Sorry, we got a little technical difficulties. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Trying to work on some things here. There we go, back in the frame. So Mohamed Sanu, he basically said, "Pay that man, pay that man." They better pay that man. They better pay Jawan Jennings. This guy was the most important player on offense during the playoffs at stretches of like he made some clutch catches. We know how good he was in the Super Bowl. Probably would have won the MVP, as we know if they would have won. They got to give that man. They got to give that man a lot of money. 2 to 3 year deal. 20 million for 3 years is about right, says Jennings. I think that's about right. I think that gets the job done. Give him an average of you know, uh, a top 2.5 receiver. He's a good player, man. We can't lose him because not only does he make big time catches, he's a great blocker. And in this offensive scheme, you need to be able to be a willing blocker. No block, no rock, right? This guy's so critical for his team. He just makes some big plays, man. He was so important down the stretch. When he had his concussion and he didn't play a couple weeks, and then he came back in the playoffs, you see the difference, man. He was a difference maker. He really was. I would hate to see the 49ers lose him. So he's not a bad QB either. Rob says he's the voice of the locker room. I feel like he's got, a lot of pull in that locker room. He kind of like, remember how Kendrick Bourne was that like locker room vibe setter? I feel like Jawan Jennings is a vibe setter. Maybe him and Debo, but I love Jennings, man. This guy's a dog. I absolutely love the guy. They got to bring him back. I'd be really sad if we don't keep him on the team, but I'd be pretty. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it. So yeah. The defense. You know what? Defensive players, he gets in their head. He gets them in there, and he plays mind games with these players. Got to keep Jennings, man. Dog, I love him. Another guy. Let's talk about another guy that the 49ers definitely mentioned. They had John Feliciano, right? We all remember a couple of weeks ago, my man was beefing with his own player on Twitter. My guy was beefing with Spencer Burford. He was beefing with Spencer Burford. He called him out for the missed block assignment on Chris Jones, and then he says, "I'm sorry, bro. I was drunk." Like that whole situation was crazy. But John Lynch says that he owned up to it. He apologized. He made sure to mention that in his press conference. But he also said that they really are happy with his ability to play within the scheme, and they want to bring him back. They're going to work on a contract extension to re-sign John Feliciano. Well, he may not be a starter, but he's a very good depth piece. He's a very good player that he could start if he needed to. Honestly, if he wasn't injured in that Super Bowl, he probably would have made the block on Chris Jones. A very savvy veteran, and he's kind of like that Dan Brunskill Swiss Army knife guy. He could play all along the line, and I love this guy. He's tough, man. I mean, I get it. He made his little social media silly moment. He had his weak moment there. But at the end of the day, everybody was pissed off at that time. But hopefully in the future he can handle that offline. Call Burford and whatever the case is, handled it offline because it did kind of get a little ugly. But yeah, he said John Lynch said that he owned up. It's water under the bridge, and they want to bring him back. I really like John Feliciano. I think that was a solid pickup last year. Very underrated signing for the 49ers. I'm good with bringing him back. Now, there's another guy out there that I saw every single Niner page and all these content creators and all these people on Twitter. Not me, though. Everybody's sitting there, "Oh, Laken Tomlinson. He's available. The Jets are cutting Laken. Bring him. There's a reason why they got rid of Laken. And I love Laken when he was here. Very durable player. I get all that. They got Aaron Banks. He was the replacement. He was the guy they drafted. They don't need Laken Tomlinson. He was not good last year. He let up a lot of pressures. He let up a lot of sacks. he just wasn't good last year. You know what? He was good when he was at the Niners, but he's kind of fallen down a little bit in terms of his abilities. I'd rather bring John Feliciano because he's more versatile. He can play more than just guard, and he's good. He still showed us that he could really be a quality lineman. So if I had the choice between Feliciano and Laken Tomlinson, I'm taking Feliciano 10 days out of 10 days, 7 days out of 7 days. I'm taking Feliciano every single time on those between those two. Bring him back. I don't know. I love Lakin when he was here. I love the victory donuts. Trust me, I do. But he's not what he was when he was with the Niners. So every ex player is coming back. I need a bigger center. Yeah. Brendel wasn't horrible, but I just don't think he's like the man. I mean, obviously, you'd love to have a bigger center. I don't think Brendel was horrible in terms of being a center. I think he works for the 49ers system. I just think the Niners need to get a better guard on the right side. Feliciano is not horrible, but the right tackle spot to me is the biggest gaping hole. That was bad. Right tackle was definitely bad, and then the communication with the right guard. Again, Feliciano was very good when he was in, but they had Spencer Burford in a lot, and he missed a lot of assignments, had a lot of penalties. I know he's a second year player. He had some moments here and there, but that right side of the O line, they have to improve it. So, so we'll see. We shall see. Now, there's another position that the 49ers need to really hunker down on in the offseason during free agency or the draft. As a lot of people aren't going to like me to say this, but I think they're going to make it a priority is defensive line. I think they're going to draft a defensive lineman high like they always do. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, you got to realize Arik Armstead's coming into year 10. I believe the last year of his contract. He's coming off a meniscus surgery. Clelin Ferrell's a free agent, played very well for the team, but he's coming off a meniscus surgery. He's a free agent. I don't know if they're going to even bring him back. You have Drake Jackson, who had quad surgery. Are they going to bring him back, or is he going to be back healthy? When the season starts, he had surgery. He's a young player who really didn't take that second year leap yet. And will he be able to take that leap in his third year coming off of surgery? I don't know. It's hard to say. Javon Kinlaw is a free agent. Finally was healthy. Will they be able to bring him back? Chase Young, he's a free agent. He was good at times. He was very inconsistent, but he's going to be gone on the team. Austin Bryant, he was a failed signing. They brought in. They try to use him. He's not coming back on the team. And then you have Kalia Davis, second year player from this year. He's going into his third year. ACL in his first year. I mean, he's still developing. Robert Beal, he looked promising at times, but he's a second year player. Who knows if he can take that leap, So they need defensive linemen. Other than Nick Bosa, they got some issues there. And Javon Hargrave, good player, but he had some hamstring issues towards the end of the season, and he's going to be 31 years old. So he's no spring chicken. The Niners need to really hit on D-line and O-line, both sides of the trenches. I know a lot of people aren't going to like to hear that. I know a lot of people could be like, oh, well, they just need O-line. In the draft, when they draft a defensive lineman high, don't get too mad, ladies and gentlemen. There was another. So there was a. What's his name? Mel Kiper. The famous Mel Kiper. He does his mock draft. So today he actually had the 49ers mock draft. Let's pick it up. Let's see if I have it. I think it was. Where's it at? Do I have it here? Oh, it's not loading up. Give me a second. Let me load this picture up. We're gonna get Mel Kiper Jr.'s draft position. We gotta delete a picture. Give me a second. Stand by. Let's see. Here we go. I want to get this picture up. We'll talk about what Mel Kiper thinks the 49ers should do. And it might be similar to what I just said. Here we go. Mel Kiper says the 49ers are drafting with the 31st pick, Chop Robinson. I love the name, Chop Robinson. So he says that San Francisco could take the comp picks for defensive end Chase Young and let him walk in free agency, opening a spot on the other side of Nick Bosa. He says that's where I'd slot in Robinson, whose sack numbers were a little disappointing the past two seasons, 9.5 total, 4 in 2023, but who has the potential to be a star. So he goes on to explain why he would be, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, Chop Robinson, pass rusher, That's what he thinks the 49ers are going to take at 31 right now. Mock draft. Chop Robinson. He's not good. He's not bad. He's a good, fast guy off the edge. I think Red Ice is like a D Ford replacement. He definitely is a beast. I like the guy. He wouldn't be a bad addition to the 49ers. Now, again, a lot of people are going to sit there and say we need O-line. They absolutely do. But at 31, are you going to get an offensive lineman better than what Chop Robinson could be to the defensive line? So then it comes down to best player available. So I don't actually hate the pick at 31. Now, I know they need defensive line, but I also know they desperately need to improve the offensive line. But do you want to force them to pick a player if he's not going to be an elite guy on the side that you need him? So that's where it's tough, because sometimes I like best player available. I like BPA. That's my take. If I need a position, I'm not going to force myself to pick a player if there's a better player available on this team that you can insert. And they need a defensive line. They need an edge rusher. They need that pass rusher. Chop Robinson at 31, he's not chopped liver, ladies and gentlemen. You bring him in, he'd be quality edge rusher off the side. They've been searching for this for years. That's why they brought in Randy Gregory, Chase Young, all these guys. Still searching for that. I know a lot of people would be pissed off, though, because they need O-line. But my whole point is, at 31, are you going to find an offensive lineman that's going to start at right tackle right away? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, this is a possibility, says Flood. I think the Niners trade out of the first round, gather a couple of twos and maybe a third. It's true. It's definitely a possibility. My man Shades says Chop Robinson or Kool-Aid McKinstry. I like them both. They both have phenomenal names. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Chop Robinson. Come on, man. Quit playing with them. I love those names. Either one I'd be happy with. Now, I do want them to get a cornerback, because that nickel corner spot is it's been up and down, right? They had to move Lenore in there, who's great, but you want him to stay on the outside because he's a really good outside corner, So if they get a solid nickel corner, you'd have three dogs. You'd have Lenore, Mooney Ward, and whoever they can get. Now, John Lynch did say they want to get Darrell Luter, a little bit more development, and maybe he's the guy. So keep an eye out on Darrell Luter. I think that's the guy they're hoping takes that year two leap to be the nickel. I think they were hoping for Sam Womack to be that guy this year, but he was really injured a lot throughout the year, and Darrell Luter really impressed him. So we'll see. Camp battles are going to be tough. They do have young guys, so we got to remember they do have some young guys. If they can get Kool-Aid McKinstry, though, that'd be dope. But I think taking a D lineman or O lineman would be a higher priority over the cornerback, because they have two really good cornerbacks, Lenore and Mooney Ward, and they got some young guys, and let's let them develop. Nickel corner is a very, very tough position, so that's my take on it. Flood says, I think the Niners go heavy on defense in the draft and try to sign a veteran tackle. If that's what they do, if they can get a good lineman in free agency, if they can somehow get a veteran right tackle that's very good, then yeah, go out and build his defense. So we'll see, though. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait. Sheesh. I'm hyped up, man. I can't wait for this defensive coordinator opening. We'll see, to be filled. So the last thing I want to bring up before we leave, the 49ers and all teams in the league, they got a report card. When your kids bring home their report card, some of them are scared, some of them are hyped to tell you so they can get allowance or money or whatever. If you give them gifts, my daughter, she's always proud to bring her report card back most of the time. The 49ers got a report card just like everybody else in the NFL, the NFLPA. They have these report cards, and today the 49ers report card came back. It was pretty good. They were ranked number 6 out of the whole NFL in terms of overall grades. So let's go through it. The treatment of the facilities, they ranked number 2 out of 32. They got an A-. The food, the cafeteria got an A-, third overall. The nutritionist and the dietitian, they get a B+, 8th in the league. Okay. The locker room got a B+, a 7th. We've seen the images of, Trent Williams got 2 freaking locker room stalls. So I'm sure Trent Williams gave them an A. He loves it. Training room gets a C. Now that's where they need to kind of improve upon. The training room is terrible according to, I guess this report. Well, maybe not terrible, but 24th, that's not good. They got to make sure that training room is better. They've had some injuries over the last years, so maybe they got a lot of experience there. Fix that training room, Niners. The training staff, though, they love them. B-, that's not bad. 21st, middle of the pack. They can improve there, though. A B- could be better. The weight room, B plus, 11th in the league. Um, yeah, let's improve upon that. Even though that's not too bad. The strength coaches, they got a B plus, 16th in the league. Now we do remember one of their strength coaches just got hired to the Packers a couple weeks ago. So they're losing a good strength coach. It looks like they're very highly rated. A B plus, 16th. That's not bad. Team travel. Now this is where they got to improve team travel. A C plus, 18th in the league, 13th in the league. Sorry, they got to fix their travel because that's not good. A C plus for travel. They must be flying with Spirit Airline, and if they are, get rid of that airline. No, actually, Spirit would be an F, absolute F. That's the one good thing is the 49ers didn't get any Fs on these grades. Head coach Kyle Shanahan gets an A. He's 7th in the league. I mean, not too many coaches better than him, but unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get over the hump. But I mean, who's rated over Kyle Shanahan, man? That's crazy. Maybe Andy Reid, obviously, but I'd like to look at the whole list and see what the coaches are rated. I'm sure they got it up somewhere. Let's maybe Bleacher Report. Somebody has it. Do you guys know? Bleacher Report have it. Does anybody have the list in front of them? Maybe we can. If you guys know it. I saw something though. The Chiefs ranked 31st in overall. In overall grade, the Chiefs ranked 31st. Their owner got an F minus, and they're the Super Bowl champs back to back. So at the end of the day, these grades are just what people's opinions are. People, what they grade them on, whatever standards. But hey, the Chiefs got a 31st overall. They got an F on several categories, and they're the defending Super Bowl champs. So you take these grades with a grain of salt. Let's see. They fly United. United, yeah, United's not the best. Ownership got an A minus. Yeah, I'm gonna give Jed his flowers. Jed's really turned things around over the last couple of years. A lot of people still hate him, but I like Jed, man. He's really righted his wrongs. I like the guy. Solid respect. But those are the grades. The 49ers, they could improve. They're 6th in the league overall, but hey, we're sitting here empty-handed. The Chiefs were 31st overall. Their owner got an F minus and a Super Bowl champ. So hey, doesn't matter. Grades don't always matter. Don't tell your kids you said that grades don't matter. But guess what? C's get degrees. Also, my man Rob says Kyle said I lost another Super Bowl. Guess what? Stayed on Holiday Inn Express. Oh, y'all are ruthless. I love y'all. You guys have a great rest of your night. Hopefully, in the next couple of days, we get the news we've been dying to hear. The 49ers hire a defensive coordinator. I hope they do it soon because I'm struggling without knowing who it's going to be. So that way, once they hire him, we can sit here and either roast the team, talk about it, how great it's going to be, give them their flowers. Oh my God, get hype. We can react to the news, and I hope it's soon. You guys have a blessed night. I love you. Stay up. Go Niners. Bang, bang, then again. Appreciate the support. Hit that like button. I really appreciate you guys for hopping on and checking out the show. Yeah, you guys could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So appreciate you. Thank you. Love you.